Okay, guys, so welcome back to a new video here. So I want to talk about the recent podcast appearance by Cenk Uyghur on Hasan Piker. And I thought for a number of reasons it was pretty interesting. I mean, it was a debate between two pretty big factions of the left. And for anyone who doesn't know, Cenk is Hasan's uncle. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you probably know that by now. But they do this every year on Thanksgiving where they have a podcast and they discuss a bunch of issues. I thought this year was particularly interesting just because post-election there's a lot of debate about what direction is the Democratic Party going? And I think it represents two pretty significant factions. I think it's fair to say Hasan is definitely more to the left of Cenk, at least on social issues, for example. And Cenk is more the quote-unquote boomer take. But who's right, who's wrong, and are they both wrong, or are they both right? Now let's talk about it. So, number one, I think it's funny, guys. They actually talked about the Hunter Biden pardon in the beginning of the podcast where they were like, oh, I don't know. I think Hasan said, I don't think anyone's going to do it. And then Cenk said, I think Trump's going to do it. I believe he said. But no, Joe Biden did it yesterday, which is pretty interesting, which we can check that video out. It will be in the link in the description. But, guys, number one, I think it's important to say on the social issues, that was probably the most heated debate. For example, on issues of crime, again, Hasan was kind of downplaying the issue, saying that the right wing would basically inflate the amount of crime that's taking place. Now, is that true? Yeah, it is true. But at the same time, Cenk, for example, is bringing up an issue that Americans are concerned about. I forgot what the name of the resolution was, but in California, for example, there was a resolution that basically made shoplifting, or it made it stricter criminal penalties for shoplifting. For if you commit a number of crimes or a number of shoplifting events, it's eventually graded up to a felony. The people of California voted overwhelmingly for that, and I think it has to be acknowledged by people like Hasan that we live in a democracy. That's what people support. So I think Cenk is right on the issue of crime in the sense that people are concerned about it, and the left, the quote-unquote extreme left, which is what Cenk characterized it as, need to moderate their position on the issue. Because if they don't, then they're going to continue to lose voters. I think that is a factor. At the issue of wokeness, for example, Hasan basically was like, okay, it's not a big deal at all. Cenk thought it was a big issue. I think the answer is in the middle ground. I think Americans care about it, but I think it was more of the inflationary thing. Prices are too high for people, and frankly, a weak incumbent in Biden, who should have dropped out a year prior, kind of handicapped Harris, and to the extent where she wasn't really able to build a strong campaign. And yeah, there's criticism about how she handled the campaign, but are Americans really caring that she was hanging out with Liz Cheney? I'm sure some were, but guys, most voters have no idea what's going on. Most of the voters probably don't even know who someone like Gavin Newsom is. If you follow politics, yeah, you definitely know who those people are. But most people do not, they have no clue, let alone care if she's hanging out with Liz Cheney. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, there's criticism of her campaign, there's no question about it. But the idea that this was oh my God, it sank her campaign, no. I think she was, and you know what? That's a criticism of her, that she was too aligned with Biden. But she was viewed as the incumbent candidate, and Trump was viewed as a change candidate. And especially in a time, guys, where incumbent parties across the world are getting destroyed, it's not a surprise that the White House party was sacked. But again, I think if you had a stronger candidate and a charismatic candidate, which is really what really matters in a social media age, guys, that maybe they could have won. But Biden can't even speak at this point, really. Let's be honest, guys. And Kamala's very scripted and not the best candidate in the sense of, guys, she just sounds inauthentic. She does not sound as though every answer sounds like it's a script. It doesn't seem personable enough, which is why she probably should have done a lot more of these podcasts. I mean, her people were on Pod Save America making a bunch of excuses, which was ridiculous, saying, oh, she wasn't avoiding any podcasts. Ridiculous. She should have wanted someone, maybe even not even Joe Rogan, someone like Lex Friedman, for example, who's interviewing the president of Ukraine this week, I think. I mean, he would not have given her a hard interview. It would have been a good platform from her with a wide audience, but she didn't do that. And the sense of, and this is what both of them say, it just seemed as though they were technocratic, out of touch elitists. And that's a perception, and both of them would agree with that, Cenk and Hasan. But it needs to be a wide look at the party. I think a lot of it is going to be a celebrity candidate. They're going to need a celebrity, or at least someone who's charismatic. That's why someone like Trump won. Full of controversy, and he still won. Trump still won. So the status quo is not going to work in the future. Especially in the media age, guys. Even look at Trump's cabinet picks. All of these guys are social media savvy. So, and again, there was heated argument on the issue of crime, but I think they do have to moderate at least the extreme left, because there's a perception that the extreme left controls the Democratic Party, which is really not true. But the far left does have positions like this. They need to moderate them in order so that position doesn't exist. And they'll lie about it, but the Democratic messaging needs to be better, which is why they need to infiltrate the social media sphere and the social media echo chambers that a lot of these people are in. There's so much misinformation, and there's so much, and let's be honest, the social media sphere at this point, many of the big podcasters they're right wingers, and that's fault of the left for not getting into those spheres sooner. And there's a couple of them like Hasan, Destiny, but even this mainstream pop culture, like Joe Rogan is way bigger than these guys. Andrew Schultz, again, they're right wing coded kind of. They just the left has not done a good job of that, and frankly, that's on them. And which is another important thing in this debate. Hasan was saying wokeness didn't matter. That was really the huge thing. Wokeness doesn't matter. Cenk, wokeness does matter, but not as much. Middle ground. I think it does matter, but I think that the inflationary issue and the economy and cost of living matters far more. So, again, it was pretty interesting overall, too. And there was a lot of agreement on issues like Trump, for example. The Elon Musk tweet that, they discussed with Trump, where he was saying, Elon Musk is reaching out to Cenk for suggestions. Yeah, I mean, come on. I don't think it's realistic that Elon Musk cares what Cenk Uyghur has to say about the issue, but I mean, why not? At the same time, I mean, he's reaching out to you. Why would you not confer with him and discuss certain topics? It doesn't make any sense, guys. Of course, Cenk should be giving advice or suggestions if the most powerful person in the world, or the most richest person at least, is asking you questions. It's pretty simple. I mean, that's another issue with, I feel like, the left. They scoff at the fact that Cenk would even discuss this with Elon Musk. Yeah, I don't think Cenk's naive. Like, okay, yeah, he's probably not looking for advice from Cenk, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt at all. Again, I don't know. And to be honest, guys, too, I hate when Cenk is like, I never get anything wrong, I always admit I'm wrong. Okay, like you said, I called it, Trump was going to win. Guys, if you look at what Cenk said the week before the election, he said it would be close and he's not sure. He picked Kamala Harris to win. There's countless videos on that. You can see that. He would flip-flop a lot. He said he wasn't sure. There's no question, but in 2016 too, he said the same thing. I picked Trump to win. No, he did not. In the lead up to the election, he said it's possible, but I don't know. Which was ironic, just because the way he was talking to Alan Lichtman, who also got it wrong and is being way too full of himself about it. There's no question, but I don't know. The idea that Cenk is always admits his fault, always admits he's wrong, is a little ridiculous, obviously. But that adds to the entertainment aspect of Cenk. And it was a long podcast. It was 3.5 hours long. There's a number of debates. But the big ones were crime, wokeness, etc. But again, I think the main agreement they had, though, was the Democratic Party needs to change. It needs to change, because if it doesn't change, they're probably going to lose again. Which is why I said someone like Jon Stewart, I think, again, controversial celebrity, similar to Trump, guys. Trump was in reality TV. Stewart was in comedy. And look at, even across the world, Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, was a stand-up guy, I think. The president of Ukraine was a comedian. I mean, people are coming from all over the place now. And, of course, Donald Trump, the reality TV show host and businessman. So people are coming from all over the place now. I think overall it's good that these debates are being had, but at some point there needs to be a united message, especially before Trump comes into office, guys, because if the Democrats are in disarray, it's only going to allow for Trump to get stronger and honestly just mow through the Democrats, because he controls all three chambers of Congress. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, Cenk versus Hasan Piker. I'll put that link in the description for the full thing so you guys can see. But super interesting, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll get back to you soon within the next couple of days. But yeah, it's interesting the debates are being had right now. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.